This is Dave McCain with the Right Tree Genealogy doing a quick video based on comments I've seen on some of the message boards I'm on and some of the forums I'm on. And to me, it still comes up every day. FTDNA BigY700 still asking? The answer is still yes. I always give the answer yes to you should do BigY700. So I'm going to go with the topic question more specifically. Why should I upgrade from 37, 111, BigY500 to BigY700? I already have matches. So when you're looking at your first level test, you see that I have matches I can look at. This looks like my family name. It sounds great. In some cases you go, I don't have a clue who these are. These don't match me. And those are the type of things you see at the low level tests. So first we need to understand what we're seeing. We're seeing 7 panels that are done on FTDNA, and those 7 panels give us different STR levels. So we'll cover a couple of slides just showing what you see there and what you get. So when you look at the first 4 panels through 67 STRs, you're going to get your first definition of what your haplo group is, or basically where you're at on the haplotree. Are you an R? Are you a I, J, which letter are you? That gives you that, the fundamentals. And you're going to see your first YSTR matches. Now note here, FTDNA only offers 37 and Y111 at the low level now. They used to offer any of those, but now that's the 2 that you can get fresh. Or you can upgrade from any level, but that's the ones you can start with. Now the next one is panel 5. Panel 5 was at first our big daddy. We got all 111 YSTRs, and what you see is a better measure of how your genetically relevant matches are. So if you're matching somebody still at 111, you're more than likely able to see some paths to them. Now, not always. There's some of them that match you and they're still more like a convergence type match and not a real match that you're going to see on a big Y type testing. And I came in at the end of BigY500. Matter of fact, I did a test for my father. I did him at 67, and I upgraded him to BigY500. And right when I did the BigY500, FTDNA upgraded me to the BigY700. We literally started the test at the most opportune time. So what we were seeing there with the BigY500, some of the people in my project that I'm in were at BigY500, and what we saw for them was they had their confirmed downstream SNPs in the haplo group. So you saw them in green because that was their first SNPs that they had. You have the situation that more genealogically relevant because you can trace them via paper trails, possibly at the BigY500. Now that leads us to the BigY700. Again, those SNPs that you have there is great. I mean, you have hundreds of thousands of SNPs there. Well, now we come up with the BigY700, the latest testing that they've done at Family Tree DNA, and what I've been the most excited about for what I've been working on in my project. We have 277 more YSTRs than there were in the BigY500. So you go, okay, you went from 111 to 561, and then you added another 277 additional YSTRs. And when you do that, it adds thousands, tens of thousands of additional SNPs that you can be compared with. And what BigY700 also did is it created, we have the BigY block tree that we can look at now and see a better defined terminal SNP. So that's huge. We've gained so much with BigY700, and we continue to gain. I was just going to show a quick example of the numbers. So a match in 2018 had 451,101 shared variants that you could have. You also had non-matching variants, but that's what you could have in 2018. Well, in 2020, when the test come through that matched, for instance, my father, he did his in that 2018-2019 time frame. The 2020 matches come through, there's 700 some thousand. That's 300,000 more almost than what was even in 2018. And then when they matched, and again, these numbers are when you first matched the person, and then we have another tester that just tested back in April and it's persons at 1 million shared variants. And that, a lot of that comes from with what you see in the new BigY700. And I want to note this. This is from a screen capture I did today, and there were 1,146,767 variants that could be analyzed between you and another tester when you're doing the BigY700. Now, I want to state this. It doesn't just mean that the BigY700 is, oh, well, that's where all the new variants come from. No, they can come where anywhere the test is taking place for the STRs, anywhere in that area that's being tested by FTDNA. But with the BigY700, you have that much more area that's being covered in the BigY700 versus the BigY500. Quick comments here on this video is low-level test just puts you in the Haplotree. BigY700 puts you on your terminal SNP path. So a big key factor here is when a person upgrades from BigY500 to BigY700, there are areas that are PVs for you as a BigY700 that will no longer be PVs because this person upgrades from 500 to 700. And we saw that in our project ourselves. We've had people, once we had them upgrade from the 500 to the 700, the private variants got cut, and that put a more path for us to get to the most recent common ancestor. And that's another benefit of doing the BigY700. And another statement here is when you're trying to find the most relevant YDNA matches, the BigY700 separates the alfalfa from the orchard grass. And of course, that's a farming reference. It's also a horsing industry reference. Alfalfa is the high grain, high protein product, and orchard grass is regular grass. It doesn't mean they're bad. It just means if you want the more energy, that's where the alfalfa, or in this reference here, the BigY700 gives you the best possible test information you can get. And lastly, and simply put, the BigY700 gains you the most refined terminal SNP you can get to date with family tree DNA. That's the highest level they have. You don't want to do SNP tests anymore. The biggest thing is they're almost irrelevant because you gain the 1.1 million as of today variants that are out there, and there's going to be more found as we continue. This is middle part of 2022, and there's just going to be, every test that comes in has the possibility to separate that haplotree. I hope this video was informative to you and you gain some knowledge of why you should do the BigY700. I'm promoting it because it's really helped me learn a lot in my private tree, and I hope it helps you in your private tree, helping the paper trails combine with the YDNA. If you like this type of video, please consider subscribing right here. I'm going to add a couple other types of videos up here for YDNA, and let's continue learning together.